Hey folks, welcome back. Okay, stay story. This one's called Ugly the Cat. Alright, this is a little different. Okay, we're still back out west. Okay, now, in earlier side stories I had talked about when we moved out west, and the property we moved on, there was 80 acres, 5 families, blah 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 blah. Now this is after things were pretty well established, and we had helped the owner, who was kind of the head of our group of people that moved out there. We helped him construct a 32 by 76 pole building, 2 stories, with 5 apartments inside of that building. To winter, at least winter, all the families that moved out there for the first year. And it turned out very nice, very nice. Well, we had broken away from the group and kind of went and found our own path, Decided that, well, it just wasn't going to work. It just didn't fit our lifestyle, the things we wanted to do and accomplish, and some of the adventures we wanted to do weren't going to fit with this group lifestyle. The homesteading side of it, whoa, it was hard to walk away from that. That was very, very tempting to stay put for that reason. But we decided we're going to kind of go off our own way. Well, there was a spell when we had a transition between places we were living, and I asked the fella that we moved out there with, would you mind if I set up camp on the other end of your property, but near the creek, kind of where we set up when we first got there, for me and my family, just for the summer, and we'll be out of there by fall. And he said, yeah, sure, go ahead. Well, what I had 2 of these 16-foot mash tents, old heavy canvas mash tents, that they're 6-sided, and they can attach to each other. So we had 2 of those, and the front one was our kitchen, living area, our common room, our big family room kind of affair. And in the middle of that tent was a big wood stove, potbelly stove. The back part of the tent, the second tent that was attached to the first one, in that tent there was a tarp down the center, and on one side was me and the ex-wife's bedroom. On the opposite side was the kids' room, okay, where they spent the night. And right by the doorway, between the 2 tents, the sleeping tent and the living tent, that's where the bucket sat. You can guess what the bucket's for. Yeah. At night when you gotta go, that's where you go, is in the bucket. Well, for some reason, our round 5-gallon pail ended up cracked. So that ain't gonna work anymore. We got rid of that. All we had left, and I couldn't find anybody that had an empty 5-gallon bucket, all we had left were these 4-gallon square, well, they were tall, but square topped buckets. And they got a lid, So we started using a square top bucket for the pee bucket. Okay. Sure enough, it never failed at our house. Bring a stray animal home, Well, the kids, they show up with a mother cat that's got a bunch of kittens. Well, as those kittens are growing up, they're getting to be like what you would call a teenage kitten. Excuse me a second. They still act like kittens, but they're getting close to, well, they're about 2/3 their adult size. And they're terrorizing all the time in those tents, running around them cats. Well, one night, you could hear them cats terrorizing around the tents, and it's getting close to morning. In fact, the sun was just starting to peak up. And you could kind of make out inside the tent without lights. And my ex-wife said, "Look at that, Sty." I go, "What?" She goes, "Look at the bucket." So I looked down the foot of our bed by the doorway going into the next room at the bucket. And here's this cat. Now these cats, they hadn't even been named yet. Nobody gave them names yet. And there's this cat sitting on the bucket. And it's meowing at us. And I told it, "Shut up. I want to go back to sleep." And it'd meow again. And my ex-wife is laughing. She says, "That's a funny cat." She said, "That one's got brain problems, but it's funny." I said, "I don't think it's funny. It's waking me up." And so I told it, I said, "Hey, cat, you shut up or I'll put you in that bucket." I no more than said that, and that cat stood up. The lid flipped, and the cat disappeared. Magic. Boom, cat's gone. All of a sudden, that lid flies off of that bucket, and all you see are two paws and this soaking wet head look out of that bucket right at us, and it's got toilet paper over its head, and its ears are holding the toilet paper up, and it's hanging on the sides of its head, and it soaks. I mean, it soaks. 6 people use that bucket overnight. But here comes the bad part. I started laughing. I couldn't believe it. I wasn't even thinking of the mess. It was just too dang funny looking at that cat, looking at us. Because I said, "I'll put you in that bucket." And boom, there he went, right in the bucket. He got even. He come flying out of that bucket. There's pee flying all over the place. And what's he do? He runs right into our bed. Right up between me and the ex-wife. Cats can fly. I'm telling you. Sty knows. Cats can fly. That cat flew all the way from our bed all the way into the kitchen tent. He flew. What was really strange, after he managed to dry himself out, I don't know, because he got chased out. He wasn't allowed back in the tents for at least a couple days. He got himself dried out and that, but he ended up kind of cockeyed looking, and one ear was weird, and it was all from the bucket incident, because he didn't look that way before he fell in the bucket. So when we look back at it, when he popped his head out of that bucket, that was ugly. That was real ugly. So we started calling him Ugly the Cat. So there you go. There's Ugly the Cat. And beware of cats in camp. So there you go. That's a short one from Sty. Hey, thanks for tagging along. If you haven't subscribed, over here you can punch me in the mug. Over here we'll have some videos that you can follow. Hey, great having you along. And until the next one, you all have a very, very nice day. Bye-bye.